Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be talking about how to improve stride frequency. If you want to improve stride frequency though, you need to understand what you're able to do to actually try to improve it. So to do a full cycle with one leg, you take 2 steps in total, left and right. There you have a ground contact time, then you have air time. Air time can be improved, but not by much. And generally for every sprinter, the amount of airtime you have is just basically set in stone. I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head, but you spend more time in the air than you do on the ground. And doesn't matter what you want to do, the amount of time in the air is going to basically stay locked. You can decrease it by improving your form, so you're not wasting energy, so you're not getting more vertical force than you need to be. You just want to get just the right amount and have as much horizontal force as you can, though obviously, depending on where you are in your part in the race, which phase, this will change. But the real bread and butter is stride frequency improvements through ground contact time. Because ground contact times will directly improve your stride frequency, as the less ground contact time you have, the more power you have, which means your foot is going to be able to push into the ground and come back up much faster, and you're just going to be up in the air much faster than you were before. And as long as you continue to cycle and keep being able to do this, your stride frequency is going to go up, and your ground contact times are going to go down. Generally, as your form improves, you'll notice that your depending on what your main focus on, main focus was on. If it was on stride length, your ground contact time might have gone down, but not by much. But your stride length increased by a lot. So what essentially happened is, for the improvement you just made, technically your ground contact time went up. So this is what resulted in your stride frequency going down, if you notice that happening, because your ground contact time hasn't decreased at an equal rate of improvement to increase in your stride length. So your stride frequency stayed the same or improved compared to where it was before. Which means if you want to try and improve your stride frequency, your ground contact time is the only thing you can do to improve it. And now you might be thinking, okay, now I know I need to improve my ground contact times. What can I do to improve it? There's quite a few different things you can do, and they're things you've already been doing. The only difference is now you're going to want to make sure you've been doing them with an emphasis with completing the movements as quickly as possible. So first, I'll start off with drills you can do. Basically every single drill you do for sprinting, there's a ground contact time necessary for it, but you can decrease this ground contact time as long as you specifically focus on it. For this, my favorite drill, I keep coughing. For this, my favorite drill is A-skips or A-runs, whatever, different names for different variations of it, but it's A-skips, where you literally just hop once, twice, 3 times, you just repeatedly switch legs, going back and forth, back and forth. And the way you want to do it to work in ground contact time is, the second your foot lands on the ground, you want to instantly pull back up so you can get your foot to recover underneath your glutes and drive through, so it's in the air again, so ready to go back down again. As long as you keep doing that again and again and again, your body's going to improve its neuromuscular coordination, which A-skips, they won't be able to improve your ground contact time by a crazy amount. But what they can do is they can prepare you for more they can prepare you neuromuscularly for movements that will be able to directly improve your ground contact time by a lot. So once you're able to get your foot off the ground faster, the next thing you want to be looking at trying to improve would be plyometrics. You want to be looking at plyometrics that have the least amount of ground contact times as possible. And even when you aren't looking at plyometrics with the least amount of ground contact times, you want to make sure that all of these plyometrics, you do them as fast as possible. So plyometrics that we want to be looking at would be stuff like pogos, bilateral pogos of both legs, bounds, and I guess you could also include not bounds, sorry, what's it, broad jumps. You can also include broad jumps, but for the broad jumps, if you was to do those, you wouldn't want to do just one broad jump, because one broad jump would be simulating how it'd be to be pushing out blocks, or the few drive steps out of the blocks. So instead, you want to have that one drive step, that first broad jump, and then you want to have one other or two more. So you'd have like I like to call it double broad jump or a triple broad jump. You'd have a double or triple broad jump, and these other two steps, you want to get them down as quickly as possible. The goal here with not just the plyometrics, but not just the plyometrics, not just the bounds and other plyometric movements, but with the broad jumps, would be not to get a crazy amount of distance at the start, but it just be to be able to get off the ground really quickly. But even if you aren't focusing on getting crazy amount of distance, what you will notice is if you want to be able to decrease your ground contact times, the amount of power you're going to be producing for all of these movements are going to go up. So you are probably going to be getting around the same length jumps that you're used to, or just slightly less than what you're used to. Now, in the gym, the closest things we have to simulate ground contact, decreases in ground contact times, would be, again, plyometrics like depth jumps and box jumps. But if we're looking at barbell exercises, it'd be Olympic lifts. This is stuff like the clean, snatch, and the jerk, the only Olympic lifts. If you're focusing on power and trying to improve your strength, then this would mean you're lifting really heavy. But if you're trying to improve your ground contact time, this would mean that a lot of your sessions in the gym would feel mundane, pointless, and just a waste of time. What I mean is, generally, you can't really lift too heavy for Olympic lifts, because unless you've got the technique down, the amount of skill it takes to be able to lift a heavy amount of weight over your head is about as difficult as it is to learn how to sprint, which is why it's good to be able to learn how to do Olympic lifts, because it challenges your body neuromuscularly. But regardless of how heavy or light you're doing, if you're trying to challenge your body so it can decrease its ground contact times, what you're going to be wanting to do is challenge the amount of force you're able to produce with the weight you currently bear. And the reason why I said it's going to feel mundane and easy is because the weight you're going to be bearing is most likely going to be 50% or less of the maximum you're able to use for that movement. At most, you might be doing like maybe 60 to 70%. Though 70 seems like a bit of a stretch, but 60% that might be able to happen, and only 60% if you haven't checked your personal best for that movement in a long time. Generally, when we're trying to be using Olympic lifts, the snatch is very explosive and it's very good for this, but a lot of people struggle to get the snatch technique down properly. So there's not much point in doing the snatch, because a power snatch, which is how we want to be doing it, doesn't involve the full movement of grabbing the bar, going into a deep squat and lifting over your head and standing up. It only involves the first pull, and then as you pull it over your head, you just slightly dip. So it would look like basically like a box squat, but no, probably not a box squat, more like a quarter squat. The higher you can get your hips to be, the more power you're able to produce. So you're not really able to physically see how much power you're able to produce, because the weights are light. So you're going to be having a high hip regardless. And what I mean when I say high hip is, say you're standing up, compare your hip height to where it would be if you was to get into the deepest squat you possibly could. With that squat, your hip would be much closer to the ground than it would be if you were standing. With a power snatch or power clean, the more power you're able to, the stronger you are and more powerful you are, the higher your hips will be and the less your hips will dip from that weight. And because of the technical difficulties with the snatch, there's a chance that you're not going to be able to, you're going to overcompensate with some other muscle. So generally, the snatch, I would say, is one of the best movements to do if you want to be able to improve your power. But until you get a technique, a power snatch will only end up ruining your technique for when you actually need to really snatch. and you need to be able to really snatch during your off season and your pre-season. So when you get into your season, you can power snatch fine. So first learn the technique before you do that. The power clean, on the other hand, which is the normal clean, which is you grab the barbell, lock it onto your shoulders, and you squat down. But instead of doing a full squat, again, you try, and the second you get it onto your shoulders, you resist the movement. The power clean, on the other hand, is much easier to do than a power snatch is, and it's less technically demanding, which is why for most athletes it's one of the go-to in the gym when it comes to trying to improve something called speed power, which is a longer graph. There's a special graph with power, pure power and strength. So I think it goes strength, power, speed, speed, power, and then pure speed. As you train, you want to get from that strength all the way down to speed, and you do this by doing all these different movements. And the power clean is one of those exercises that will allow you to train that speed power, with speed here being the emphasis. So it's easy to convert later on plan metrics. As long as you do these power cleans and you focus on the second you feel that bar on your shoulders, you don't even focus on the weight, just focus on the feel of the bar, because you'll actually feel the bar before you feel the weight. You instantly want to drive against it, push up, and then lock out instantly like that. Think of doing this like how you would be if you was to do a depth jump. The second you depth jump is the exact same thing. The only difference is the force is coming in basically the opposite direction. Technically it's actually coming in the same direction, but you're feeling it in the opposite direction, but the movement's the exact same there. You want to resist and just lock out. So you want to just keep doing a bunch of those, and after a while, your ground contact times will be potentiated enough to have the potential to improve. But the reason why I say the potential to improve is because it's great and all to do speed drills, plyometrics, and improve your Olympic lifts, but it's worth noting that these are only potentiating you for the ability to improve. They might improve your ground contact time, but ground contact times are so minuscule. If you really don't focus on the next thing I'm about to say, which is the most important, you might improve, but it won't be by much. If you improve, it mainly just be your start getting much better than how they were before, not so much your later speeds, where ground contact times being low are actually really important, because early on in the race, ground contact times can be long as they start to get faster and faster. And this is what I'm talking about, is your form. You need to improve your technique and your form. And there's one drill that I've left out that I haven't included that you can do to improve your technique for ground contact time. And that's something that I believe Carl Lewis did, and it's called hot coal. So imagine that the floor has hot coal or hot lava or boiled water or something that can burn your feet, and you want to do high knees as quickly as possible. But the goal here isn't just to do the high knees as quickly as possible, but it's to actually fire from your hips and your glutes. Because when you're sprinting with your hips and your glutes. And the reason why you want to use your hips and your glutes for this drill, I mean, you want to do this for every drill you ever do, but the reason why it's so important that you use your hips and your glutes, you don't just quickly tap your feet as fast as possible, is because you want to teach your body how to relax these muscles as quickly as possible. By teaching your body how to relax these muscles as quickly as possible, you're able to improve your body's neuromuscular connection with the rest of itself, improve your ability to relax. They come hand in hand, and improve the amount of fast twitch muscle fibers you have. What's the point in doing the drill if you just lift your feet up quickly, not by much, but very, very quickly? You don't even feel the muscles that you're using. If when you go to sprint, you're clearly feeling your hips lift up your knees, your glutes push down your foot and harden, that is pointless. There's no point in being able to feel that. You want to get rid of that tight feeling. You want it to be quick, loose, and you need to be able to teach your body how to do that. And the only way you can do that is through drills like this one, where you just quickly fire your feet to go up and down as quickly as possible. It's just a normal high knees, but you just quickly move your feet up and down, no longer than about 10 seconds. In fact, the shorter the time frame you train for, the better it would be. I don't mean reps and sets, but I mean the reps themselves. The shorter you can get the reps to be, the better it's going to be. Reason being is, these reps are supposed to be attacking your anaerobic system. So there's no point in doing a crazy amount of seconds if you're not able to, if you're no longer attacking your anaerobic system. It's just a waste of time. And other than that, you want to focus on your form, like I said. To improve your form, most of it comes down to what I just said with that drill and your arms. Because if you're able to figure out how to feel a pull from your back, whilst putting your arms back through full range of motion. But that part isn't the really important, but that can help you decrease your ground contact time. But the real one that will really help you decrease your ground contact time, and I'm talking about finally go sub 0.1 seconds, where all the elites stand. These are the people that are running sub 11 and faster. If you're running just sub 11, most likely only a few of your steps are able to go sub 0.1, but the faster and faster the athletes get, the more consistent these sub 0.1 second ground contact times are. And the way this is achieved is once you drive the arm back, you want to drive the arm forwards. You drive the arm back with your triceps, you drive it forwards with your biceps, and you want to drive it forwards until you feel your chest ripple. When you feel your chest ripple, if you just look at mine, it's just gonna jump up. It's gonna jump up, and you're gonna notice as well, the rest of your body is gonna jump up with it. Your chest is gonna jump up, and then your ground contact time is gonna drop, and you're gonna be able to feel the difference. You're gonna be able to feel the difference compared to how your steps were before. It's just gonna go, it's gonna go, and you'll be like, what just happened? And you're gonna know what did it, and so you're gonna keep chasing that. Once you found it, don't give up. Keep chasing that feeling. You want to keep getting that, because once you figure out how to make sure you can always get your chest to essentially jiggle when you drive your arm up, you're going to be able to make sure your ground contact time stay low, which is why your arms are so important. Arms aren't the most important thing when you're sprinting, because your legs are, but your arms do have a good amount of control over the ability that your legs do have. And most likely no one really watching my videos has the natural ability to go have a sub 0.1 second ground contact time without using their arms efficiently. And most likely, even if someone was watching my videos who was able to have a ground contact time that was sub 0.1, their arms were already efficient enough to be able to force their legs to come up faster. So if you can figure out how to get your chest to just ripple upwards, it will cause the rest of your body to ripple upwards, and you just be able to get that tap as you sprint. And if you combine all of what I just said in this video towards improving your ground contact time, your stride frequency is going to go up. Because as you increase your stride length, the only thing natural for your body to do is decrease the stride frequency. Because as your stride length increases, your body is not used to this, so it's tensing up in certain areas. So it's going to take a while for it to figure out how to get what's going to happen is the air time you have is going to, it's probably going to stay around the same, might increase by a bit, but ground contact time is going to go up, like I said. But once it figures out how to deal with that, the ground contact time will just drop down and back to a bit slower so a bit more than how it used to be. So your stride frequency is decreased, but not by a crazy amount like it should have. But if you want to be able to get your ground contact times to decrease to the amounts that they should be for someone with your stride length, you're going to have to decrease your ground contact times. And the only way to decrease your ground contact times is with the stuff that I've just given you. Make sure you focus on these, but the biggest thing here is form. If you can get your form to do the ripple of the chest, just forget about the plyometrics, the Olympic lifts, and the speed drills. Those will be able to help you, but if you can get your ground contact time to do that naturally just by fixing your arm mechanics, you're going to be set anyway. So there's not much point. I'm not saying don't focus on them, but they won't be able to help you as much as they would have been able to potentiate if you hadn't done it. But it's still going to be very useful. But as long as you do all of this, your stride frequency is going to go up, and your abilities can only go up from there. If you like my video, like the video, let me know in the comments section below. Check the description, because anything I forget to say in the video, I always put in the description. And if you like my content, subscribe. Helps the channel out a lot. I post every 2 days at 1 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. If you don't know when that is, just hit the bell, and then you'll be notified instantly.